Thank You for Being Late by New York Times columnist Thomas L. Friedman casts light on something that is going on beneath the surface of our very lives. Number 1, age of acceleration. Just as we said, we're going through one of the greatest inflection points in history when the three forces of the planet, technology, globalization, and climate change, are accelerating at once. When did this start? Not that long ago. In many ways, it started in 2007, and we didn't even realize it come through the door, did we? That was a potent year, and not just because Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone. All three in one, it was Star Trek Now, and now look. How much are people devoted to their mobile cell phones now? How much are we? In one study by the Boston Consulting Group, we found out that 38% of people in the United States, Germany, South Korea, Brazil, China, and India, 38% of these people would give up sex for a year rather than give up their mobile phone. Would you do that? Hadoop, GitHub, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Airbnb, and AI exploded onto the scene all around 2007. Number 2, Moore's Law. The theory first postulated by Intel co-founder Gordon Moore in 1965 that the speed or power of microchips, that is, computational processing power, would double every year. That's Moore's Law, which he later updated every 2 years, I guess, for only slightly more money for each generation. And Moore's Law has held to this pattern for 50 years. So how does this apply to computers? Well, let's break it down. Let's look at a transistor. A transistor is basically just a tiny switch that can turn electricity on or off. The computational power of a microprocessor is a function of how fast these transistors actually turn on and off, and how many of these you can fit onto a single silicon chip. So we got to make these smaller and even use software to turn them on and off faster. And that's what's been compounding. Exponential growth, the most powerful law in the universe. And that's what's kind of happening in this book. We're coming face to face with the power of compounding, and some people can't adapt. Can your parents adapt? So we need to change how we learn while the ship is moving. Number 3, the supernova. The author has renamed the cloud and called it the supernova because clouds are soft, light, and fluffy, and that's not what we're dealing with here. That doesn't quite adequately explain the situation. Whereas supernovas release mass energy at an exponentially accelerating rate, where everything is getting changed and amplifying different forms of power, it just sounds better. It makes more sense. That's what the cloud is supposed to be. It's not a cloud, it's a supernova. This is the equivalent to adding electricity to the Industrial Revolution. It just makes everything more powerful. Look at these companies that have leveraged the supernova, i.e. cloud. Okay, so let's look at page 97 here. Uber, the world's largest taxi company, owns no vehicles. Facebook, the world's most popular media owner, creates no content. Alibaba, the most valuable retailer, has no inventory. And Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, owns no real estate. Something interesting is happening. I mean, look at Airbnb again. What makes this one of the most complex things to make is the fact that it can fashion trust. Because everyone can see everyone else's identity on Airbnb and rate them as good or bad guests or hosts. So that was a real innovation, a platform of trust. Being able to rate it, you know? Wouldn't this be great if we could create a platform of trust in the world? You know, what countries can we trust? How many stars do you give them? Who is not accepting that there is a problem with the environment? Let's rate them, do business with them accordingly. See, that's what this book gets you doing. It gets you thinking about the power of flows. The flows of knowledge, new ideas, medical advice, innovation. We need to take these concepts to expand the boundaries of our planet. We're a community, whether we like it or not, whether we admit it or not, Friedman says. And if we're a global community, we have to start to act like one. Mother Nature is treating us like one. That asteroid doesn't care that we have different cultures. Neither does that supervolcano. We have to redefine the tribe and enlarge the notion of community. Make sure to check out Thank You for Being Late by New York Times columnist Thomas L. Friedman.
Thank you so much for joining me today.